Hey guys, just wanted to send you an update from Peru. First, I wanted to update you a little bit about what quarantine is like here in Peru. If you're on our Facebook group, you may have seen already the quarantine update video I did about a week and a half ago, and not too much has changed as far as like the way our days look, but to do a recap, the Peruvian president started our shelter-in-place quarantine on March the 16th, so a couple days over 2 weeks ago. And at that point, we had 71 cases in Peru. I think patient 0, the first case, showed up March 6th. And so by the 16th, we already had 71 cases. And the president went ahead and put the entire country on a shelter-in-place type lockdown in a state of emergency quarantine. And that automatically meant no travel, no leaving your house except for essential things. And it wasn't like in the States where you could decide if you wanted to or not. Everyone had to do it because there's police in the streets enforcing it. And so if you're kind of lollygagging around in the streets, it doesn't look like you're going to get an essential item at a grocery store, bank, or pharmacy, the police will ask you to go home. And we also have a curfew, mandatory curfew. It started at 8 p.m. From 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. it was technically illegal to be outside of your house in the streets, and this was enforced by police and military. And since then, the curfew has changed to 6 p.m. and 4 p.m. in the departments or states where there have been more cases. So, for example, in La Libertad, where Trujillo is, we have to be in our homes by 4 p.m. And it seems, when I think about how things are going on in the States, not just about how the cases are spreading so fast, but that the quarantine shelter-in-place thing is kind of not optional, but kind of optional, in that I was surprised to still see friends going to work and all these things, and seeing that Peru is obviously much more strict and was kind of enforced by the police and the army. And I think it might feel a little scary, or it might have felt a little scary, but at the same time, I really agree with the way the Peruvian president did this, because it's been a little over 15 days since our quarantine started, and we've gone from 71 cases to about 1,300 cases. So the curve was definitely brought down. They were expecting to at least have, I think the president said, about 5,000, 6,000 cases by now. So we can tell that the spread has been slowed. Also, here in Peru, people are much more social. It's even harder to put into place social distancing, and it's just a very social culture. So I think it needed to be something that the government really took care of a little more strictly. And also, everyone uses public transportation. We all use coins and physical money. So I was just thinking, it would be, the spread would be even faster here. There would be absolutely a lot less ability to control how it gets spread. And also, there was just would have been no medical capacity to take care of the emergency cases. And that's something that I've actually been really impressed with the Peruvian president, Martin Vizcarra, because every day at noon he holds a press conference with all of his ministers, and they share how the state of things are going. He explains why we're trying to do this, that more cases will come, don't freak out. We know more cases will come, but we've done these strict measures to make sure that as they do come, we've had time to prepare for them. And he lets the Minister of Health and the Minister of Finance talk about exactly what is being done to make sure there's more respirators and more hospital wings open, and how to take care of the financial aspect of no one being able to work for these last 15 days and the next 15 days, which the quarantine has been extended for. So I've been really impressed with the Peruvian president, and really thankful that he is in leadership right now. He actually did not, I almost said apply. He didn't apply to be president. He didn't run to be president. He was the vice president of the last president who stepped down voluntarily because he was under investigation for corruption and fraud. And the amazing thing to see is that I really believe the Lord put the Peruvian president here for right now, because he has admitted he would have never run for president. He doesn't even want to run again after these 2 years that he's finishing out the previous president's time. And the last 5 Peruvian presidents are either in jail or on trial for some kind of corruption. So it was just this. It was obviously a gift of God to Peru to put this man who didn't want to be president, but who is very organized and very calm and very good at helping people calm down for such a time as this. And so that's the way it's going right now. We have about 1,300 cases in Peru, 38 deaths in total, and I think the last time I saw there were about 15 cases in our city of 1 million people. So hopefully that means that it won't spread too much more here. And like I said, we do have mandatory curfew at 4 p.m. So that's, we just kind of stick around at home. But it's honestly, it's been a balance of feeling overwhelmed about what's going on in the world, feeling overwhelmed for the over 2 million Peruvians who quite literally depend on the money they earn day by day to survive, not just paycheck to paycheck, because they don't receive paychecks. They probably sell on the streets or work in a stand at the market, and the Peruvian government has been making available funds for those families that are in the lowest level of poverty to go to the bank and withdraw, so that they'll have enough for food to make it through. So that's how quarantine is going. So I've felt overwhelmed for those people, for what's going on in the world. The first couple, week and a half, I definitely had some moderate levels of physical anxiety, but many of you that I've gotten to talk to have been praying for me, and thank you, because I feel much more calm, much more able to handle the day-to-day responsibilities here at the seminary and at our house. So that's how quarantine is going. And another thing, one of our students here on campus, she and her husband are expecting their first child. She is in her 38th week now, and I asked that you pray for her. Her name is Fanny. Her husband's name is Carlos. And here in Peru, since the medical care is not quite as advanced as in the States, they are, because of the coronavirus outbreak and because of the quarantine, they're limiting any cases seen in any doctors or hospitals to emergency cases. So she was not able to go have her last checkup. That was the one that was going to let her know whether she would be able to give birth naturally or would need a C-section. So I know she's feeling a little nervous, but trusting in the Lord that He has given her this child and will take care of him until the end. So please pray for Fanny, because for right now it seems that she'll just have to wait until she starts to have contractions and be taken to the hospital by her husband with all the masks and everything, and there they'll let her know whether she'll be able to give birth naturally or not. So I ask that you pray for her, pray for Fanny, and for Carlos, and for their new son that is on the way. And also here at the seminary, it's been 2 weeks, and the quarantine was already extended for another 2 weeks. And the president has said that they hope to start to move towards normal after the 2 weeks are up, but that it will be a gradual process, obviously. So they've decided to go ahead and start classes back up. Well, actually, the classes for high school hadn't started yet. They were going to start the last week in March, or the last couple weeks in March. So the president is working with the educational minister, and here not everyone has internet in their homes, so they're seeing how they can use the television and the radio to get classes started back for school-aged children. And at the seminary, Pastor Julio has decided that we should also get back to classes. We did have our first week. Starting the 9th of March, we started classes, and we had 1 week before all this quarantine stuff happened. And so now that 2 weeks have passed, Pastor Julio has said we should, as best we can, try to move on with some of the material for our courses. So I'm working on passing 6 classes onto an online format. Not all of our students necessarily have internet at home, but all of them do have access to a smartphone. So we're trying to see how best we can do it through email and WhatsApp. So I ask that you pray for me as I work on getting 3 missions classes and 3 English classes onto a format where I can send homeworks to my students. I ask for the same prayer request for the rest of our professors and wisdom for our director as he leads us in this time. And I asked Nilton what he thought I should share in this video, and he said, in addition to what I've already shared, that I should specifically say that one thing that's really been sweet and helpful in this time has been devotionals with the students. When the quarantine started, I think none of us knew how strict it would get, and we had planned to do devotionals all together with everyone who lives on campus in the dining hall. But then the enforcement of the quarantine rules got even stricter, and in efforts to obey that, we decided not to do devotionals or services in the dining hall. But one thing we've been able to do has been in the apartments. Each of us sits in our doorway, and each doorway is at least a couple meters apart. And so here in the apartments, every Sunday and Wednesday morning at 9, we sit in our doorway and we have a little service together, all kind of looking in towards each other. And each time a different student leads the worship, and a different student gives their testimony, a different student preaches or gives a little devotional. So that has actually been really sweet. It's something that we don't normally get to do here amongst the folks who live on campus, because everyone's always in classes, and each family goes to a different church. So that's been a sweet little extra blessing to get to know each other, and also it's just been like this balm of calm for all of us each time we sit there and we get to praise the Lord, and we specifically try to spend some time thanking the Lord for the things going on in our life right now. So if you stuck around till the end, your little gift is, I'm going to post here like a 10-second video of one of those little devotional times when we were singing. So thanks for watching. Thanks for praying for us. Thanks for continuing to pray for the world. I know this is just kind of crazy, scary time for all of us. But I'm thankful to see that the Lord continues to sustain us day by day, and let us know how we can pray for you. We love you guys. Bye.